Boston's first black police officer was honored at a ceremony last night in Dorchester. Horatio Homer Square now stands in remembrance of the man first hired on Christmas Eve in 1878. Promoted to sergeant in 1895, Homer went on to hire 4 other African Americans to the force.
People of color still had very little voting rights. There was very little opportunity in other areas as far as jobs. So for Sergeant Homer to obtain to become a police officer and then go on to obtain the rank of sergeant was huge back then, and it's even huge today. And I think that gets lost today because we don't understand today that there are more opportunities for people of color. But back then, there were very few.
A criminal, a robber from Dorchester, was booked at headquarters and lunged at Sergeant Homer when he saw an African-American man in uniform with the sergeant's stripes. He said he would have killed him if he could to see an African-American man with such rank. Sergeant Homer was not hurt. The white officers restrained the man, but it shows Sergeant Homer's character that he would have to put up with this and still report to work with great dignity every day.
Being a man of courage and understanding that when you're out here saving lives, it's not about the color of your skin, it's about what's within. And he represented a lot of those good characters of being a police officer and one who cared about his community and withstood the storms and all the insults and racism that was heaped upon him.
It wasn't all right, it wasn't the thing for a black man to do, to become a law enforcement officer and to deal with his colleagues, his peers, and the treatment that he must have went through as an officer in the ranks with all these other men that were not like him, you know. And I see him as being a role model today for our young men and women who walk by this square to understand the fortitude and the strength that he had to take and stand up and stand tall.
They have to follow through the way Homer did and stick to it until they succeed. And many of them give up. Many of them resign or retire early. He followed through, he kept going. And that type of bravery, that type of commitment would make all officers of color proud of their tradition.